Hey y'all, it is Saturday, June 18th, and this is an amazing weather weekend all over the state. Uh, Clear skies, sun, very low humidity, going to be cooler temperatures than normal, so I decided to do a solo backpacking trip, which I never do. Um, I am doing the big loop in the Middle Prong Wilderness, which is the neighboring wilderness to Shining Rock Wilderness in Pisgah National Forest. This is southwest of Asheville. Shining Rock is much more well known. It's bigger. It has Cold Mountain, Black Balsam, the Art Loeb Trail, Graveyard Fields. It has a lot of pretty decent pretty moderate hikes from the Blue Ridge Parkway to Grassy Balds. So the neighboring wilderness gets a lot less traffic, and I've never been here. And the loop is kind of perfect for a weekend backpacking trip. I think even with my side trips to waterfalls and One Peak, it might be 17, 18 miles total. So it's very doable for a solo backpacker in 2 days. I'm currently hiking the Green Mountain Trail, which is a very long north-south trail that follows Fork Ridge all the way from West Fork Pigeon River beside Sunburst Campground, and it ends below Mount Hardy near the Blue Ridge Parkway. And I've read that this is one of the hardest, brutal trails in North Carolina, and I've probably been hiking 10 minutes, and it is incredibly steep. I don't know if you can tell by this angle, but it is straight down, no switchbacks, straight up, plowing up the hill. It's really hard to tell how vertical this is, but I've been going so slow, and I can still hear the road and river below me. I think I've only made it a few hundred feet up before I decide to readjust my pack and take a little break. But this trail is about 6 miles, and there's apparently, after it passes the summit of Green Knob, it levels out at a high plateau between Mount Hardy, and there's apparently a lot of meadows and great campsites around there. So my plan is to probably camp not too far from the Green Mountain Trail, Mountains to Sea Trail intersection, and maybe do an out and back to Mount Hardy, and then camp wherever I drop my pack. And then the next day, take the Mountains to Sea Trail to the Haywood Gap Trail, and that follows the Middle Prong West Fork Pigeon River. It's a mouthful, but along that route there's multiple waterfalls, some right off the trail, some you have to bushwhack to. And I recorded all the GPS coordinates down from the new North Carolina Waterfalls book, so I really want to hit a couple of those tomorrow. So I'm saving all the downhill and wet bushwhacking water stuff for tomorrow, and today's just all steep mountain climbing. But I've had the big back today. It is not too heavy considering I'm doing it solo, so my single person tent is heavy, but I decided to only eat cold food, so I brought no stove. Can you tell how much the land slants downwards when you I'm basically holding this phone straight, and you can see that while the trees are upright, the ground is at a big slant, and this is the slant I have to walk on. This trail is insane so far. I've gone less than a mile in 40 something minutes. I think the total to Green Knob is around 3 miles, and it's looking like that might take 3 hours at this rate. This is so steep. It's just freaking straight down. You can tell how steep it is looking at this cluster. It's all leaves and dirt. It's very slippery. There's not really much tread to grip. So it's really slow going, both on the gradient of the mountain and the the trail it is. It's just a single path, narrow dirt wilderness trail with no switchbacks, no rocks, no steps, not a wide forest road. This is tough. Here's my first viewpoint. It's a open rock face looking southeast, and down there in the gorge is the West Fork Pigeon River, which Highway 215 follows, and that natural boundary divides the Shining Rock Wilderness, which is these mountains over here, and the Middle Prong Wilderness, which I'm on the border of. And you can see I still got quite a bit of climbing to go. I think Green Knob might be the big mountain up there, or it's behind it. I'm at around the 4,300 mark, and Green Knob is 5,900, so I still have to climb about 1,500 feet in less than 2 miles, so it's tough. But here's the rock. It's been very slow going so far. It's about 3:45. I've gone less than 3 miles. I have about a mile left, so I'm definitely going at a very slow pace, about a mile per hour. So I'm not going to be able to do as much today as I thought I would. I'm just past the 5,200 foot mark, so right around a mile. Definitely cooler, and I'm going through this really large swath of rhododendron, making this huge tunnel. Pretty strange to encounter this above a mile. Finally, almost to Green Knob. I have only 100 more feet to climb, probably a quarter mile. I topped out at the ridge, and I'm dropping to a little saddle before I go back up. The forest is really cool up here. I just want to get a quick video. It's very dense, small shrubs, maybe alders, elm, ash, stuff that you'll normally see above 4,000 feet in Virginia, and you'll only see on the highest mountains here. So it's nice covered forest here. Look at this awesome tunnel of trees. So cool. If you were taller than me, I'm 5'9", you'd be hitting your head a lot through here. Uh-oh. What do we have up here? Oh, I thought it was a view. Oh, it is a view. Let's go see what it looks like. Oh, cool. All right, so this is a little rock with an open view west. Not an expansive view. We're not at the summit yet. The summit is supposed to have a view east and south. So this is kind of a preview of my hike tomorrow. The Middle Prong Wilderness makes a big horseshoe around Middle Prong West Fork Pigeon River, which is way down there. So I'm going to be hiking around the rim, and then probably somewhere below this peak, I'm going to take the Haywood Gap Trail and dive down it towards the river. So this is a rugged country out here. All right, here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for, especially me. Well, should I go this way? Let's go this way. Mistake, other way. think. Well, yeah, let's go over here. Although these are all blueberry bushes, it looks like, or blackberry, and they're kind of thorny. Oh, this is a bad choice. Should have stayed on the other path. Yeah, that was a bad decision. Learn from my mistakes. Woo! Can't wait to take a break. Oh man. Let me get my pack off, and then I can point this out a little better. All right, so we're just on the east side of Sam Knob, or Green Knob, and I am looking east at the mountains of the Shining Rock Wilderness, which is part of the Pisgah National Forest and the Great Balsam Mountain Range. So let's see, immediately ahead of me, I'm pretty sure this peak that's kind of double humped is Sam Knob, and that's over 6,000 feet. And then this peak on the other side is Little Sam Knob. And I know this because one of the highest elevation plateaus drains from there, and it forms Flat Laurel Creek, which flows from a hanging valley way up there above 5,000 feet and then plummets over many waterfalls for many hundreds of feet all the way down to West Fork Pigeon River. And it's probably a better view in the winter and when there's more water, but I can see the bare rock straight ahead. You can see the water cascading down those open rock faces. It's pretty awesome. To my left, I think the large flat hump mountain behind Sam Knob is Black Balsam Mountain, which is at 6,200 feet, the tallest mountain in Shining Rock Wilderness. And you can kind of tell from here, it's pretty bare in terms of the summit. It's open grasses. And then if you look to the left, I think that little mountain is Tennant Mountain, and then Ivester Gap, and then over here is probably Grassy Cove Top, and I've been on top of that. If I go back this direction, this peak right here, not sure, it might be Heron Knob, but I'm definitely sure that those formidable cliffs straight ahead is Devil's Courthouse, which is on the south side of the Blue Ridge Parkway. I think that's the only mountain in this little region that has cliffs like that. There's a little path that kept going down to another grassy spot, and it allows me to get a view of Mount Hardy, which I'm either gonna hike today or tomorrow, which is at 6,115 feet, the highest peak in Middle Prong Wilderness, pretty sure. So now I'm a little bit down, I can see it straight ahead. Devil's Courthouse. Sam Knob, Little Sam Knob, and the waterfalls of Flat Laurel Creek. The little hump on the left, Tennant Mountain. The big, massive mountain behind everything, Black Balsam Mountain. I actually wanted to try and correct myself. I didn't look at a map, but I think I spy Looking Glass Rock just behind this knob. It's either that or one of the other large plutons in the southern Pisgah National Forest district, on the southeast side of the Blue Ridge Parkway here. So these mountains behind it actually might just be part of the Pisgah Ridge, Pisgah Mountains, and then behind that, or the back mountains, could actually be part of the Hickory Nut Mountains, the southern end of that, towards the Green River Game Lands. And if I zoom in, just on the right side of this knob, you can see a little white thing just above that dip, and that is definitely a bare rock, a pluton. So I'm not sure if it's looking glass rock, it could be cedar rock or John rock, but it's one of those. I was sad to be leaving Green Knob, but just on the south side is some awesome open views in this grassy meadow to the southwest. So I believe that what we're looking at is the Cowie Mountains, probably, and then beyond that, the Nantahala Mountains in this direction. This is a really awesome spot right here, and it's going to swing around and give me a nice open view of Mount Hardy, and I guess the trail is going to go in this direction. I feel like I have to climb a lot to get up there, or at least drop a lot and climb a lot. So who knows how tough that's going to be. It's just after 5, and since it's mid-June, this is about the longest days of the year. So I think I can probably find a campsite after 7, at least before 8, before I'm in trouble. So I got a couple hours. Nice little campsite behind me with a good view directly ahead of Devil's Courthouse. And I can actually, I know for sure I'm not going to be able to pick it up on the camera, but straight ahead, far in the distance, I can see a bunch of tall white buildings. I am fairly sure that is the Charlotte skyline, which is pretty cool. But there's no way I can pick it up with this. From what I could tell, I'm almost probably 0.1, 0.2 miles from the Mountains to Sea Trail junction. And I found this awesome campsite right before it. Seems like a really perfect spot for me. It's around 6:15, and I've got tree cover on all sides, live trees, so I don't have to worry about deadfall. You know, pretty cushy. You know, there's some bumps in the grass, but this looks like a really good spot to put my stuff down. I think I found my campsite. I'm glad I decided to push on because I had more time than I expected, and probably about 10-15 minutes beyond where the last video was, I met the Mountains to Sea Trail and decided to go right. And fortunately, I ran into some people who told me there's an awesome view campsite area just beyond. Let's check it out. I've got shelter on one side with the trees. I don't know which direction the wind's gonna blow. It could be super windy, but this is just incredible. I could sit here and watch the sunset with Mount Hardy, and then just up the trail, these campsites are the grassy areas that are suitable, like this one. This is more exposed, it doesn't have that wall, and this one's right on the trail. I'd like to be a little bit off of it. Look at this. This is just an awesome spot. Didn't even know they had this section in this wilderness. Is great. Got I think straight ahead. I'm sure tomorrow when the sun's on the opposite side of me when I wake up, I'm gonna get better views, but I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, I'm pretty sure that Oh, I'm looking in the wrong place. This big mountain straight ahead, that's a Richland Balsam. And then this way we got the Cowie Mountains. This is great. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set up my tent first and then get water. I think I have to go down here at least a quarter of a mile to find some water. And when I come back, if my tent has stood up to the wind, then I think it'll be all right. I don't solo backpack often. Hardly ever. I don't backpack often. And when I have a setting like this, it makes me question why I don't do that more often. But honestly, it's pretty difficult to find an awesome spot like this that has barely any people. You can see, got my tent set up, already hung the rope for the bear bag, so I'm gonna eat and then it'd be easy to just attach my bag. I didn't bring a stove, no hot food, since I'm by myself. You know, I figure I brought a sandwich, some beef jerky, trail mix, and some dark chocolate and some Sour Patch Kids. So it's, you know, once you eat it, it's gone, and I don't have to worry about the weight of bringing stove and fuel and all that, and clean up utensils. So it's pretty nice. It's about 8:30, and the sun is setting. Pretty awesome. All right, so it's around 9:15. I'm up later than I wanted, but I was kind of waiting for the sun because it was a little chilly and everything was really wet. The condensation was really bad last night, even though I decided to take my rain fly off and try to help the airflow. I was in and out of sleep the entire time, but right now it's beautiful weather and temperatures. Mount Hardy. So what I think I'm gonna do is I pulled most of my stuff into the sun, especially the rain fly, to try to let it dry off, and I'm just gonna take my gym bag, camera, GPS, and try to quickly tag Mount Hardy. It's probably less than a mile away, and come back. Hopefully everything's dried out, and then I'll grab my bear bag and eat some stuff and then pack up everything and get going. So that's my plan. Hopefully I didn't start too late. I already went to the top of Mount Hardy. It is to my right and it's completely wooded. I knew that, and I just tried to find exactly where the high point was. I couldn't find the marker, but I'm pretty sure I got to the top. This is the view. It's pretty close to the summit. Not as good as I expected. It's looking east, and you know, the shrubs in front of me, the weeds are not too high, so there might be a rock outcrop down there that has an open view, but there's also a ton of thorns, and I'm getting tired of the thorns. But from here you can see this is the first kind of wide open clear view of black balsam. This huge flat long summit. I bet it's really crowded today. And then To my right is Devil's Courthouse. But yeah, unfortunately, the view isn't as good as expected, so this is really only to check off another southbound 6K peak. All right, I'm off and ready to go. It is 11. So basically it took me about an hour and 45 minutes to wake up, get dressed, do an out and back to Mount Hardy, and then eat a little food and pack up everything. Not too bad. I checked the map and I kind of got my bearings of the mountains in front of me. This big rounded one, I'm pretty sure is Rough Butt Bald. And then I was definitely right yesterday that this tall one in the distance is Richland Balsam. And to the left, the flat looking mountain is Reinhardt Knob. So these are kind of the biggest mountains in this direction. And I'm going to be heading, looks like I'll be heading along this ridge line below the Blue Ridge Parkway. I can kind of see the land contour and then probably drop way down into there. It turns out that the trail I went on yesterday to get water is actually not the Mountains to Sea trail, and I found out the hard way today. I thought that at the bottom of the plateau where the trail split was, the right split was the Buckeye Gap Trail and the left was the Mountains to Sea trail, and that's where I went to get water. So I continued on that today and I kept going south and up, and I actually almost ended up back at the top of Mount Hardy. I guess it's an alternative route. It's definitely a nicer trail but longer to the top of Mount Hardy, but fortunately I took out my GPS and checked where I was. And I had to go all the way back. It was an extra 25 minutes of wasted time to that trail junction. And the Mountain Sea Trail, thankfully, is so much easier and flatter. It is wider, there's less overgrowth, pretty flat, it's following the contours. So I'm making good time now. So I'm glad that I ended up on the right trail. But this is definitely true wilderness. Very pretty trail. Here I am at Haywood Gap Stream. It got big really quickly. About half a mile upstream is where it started. And there's a lot of water already. Here I am at the first upper crossing of the Middle Prong West Fork Pigeon River. The trail goes right over there. I can probably hop on these boulders without getting wet. Actually, this river forms just upstream. Probably a few hundred feet upstream is the confluence of Buckeye Creek and Haywood Gap Stream, and that creates Middle Prong. So from now on I'll be following the river instead of the stream, and it's kind of small right now, but it'll only get bigger. I'm getting closer to the end of the hike. This is my last crossing of Middle Prong, and it crosses just below this 15-foot waterfall. It has no official name, so in the new North Carolina Waterfalls book, Kevin just refers to it as Waterfall on Middle Prong. And just upstream from this, big bear trap branch flows into the river, and that has a ton of waterfalls. It's 2:30 right now. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have any time to do any of that. I kind of want to get back home around 8:30 to watch Game 7 of the NBA Finals, which means I have to get out of here around 4 o'clock. it looks like I have less than 3 miles to go, so that's definitely possible. So maybe I'll have to return next time and explore all the other waterfalls around here. But even so, this is a really nice spot. You can see the trail crosses right up there. So I decided to go for it, and it was definitely a challenge. Incredibly steep and gross, but I made it to the base of Middle Prong Falls, I believe. You know, I'm kind of worried there's a bigger waterfall upstream, and this is just a lower drop. So I'm gonna clamber up those rocks and see if I can see something different. You know, it looks like there's a bigger one upstream, which might be the main waterfall. There's no way I can get there from here on the right side. I might try the left. That's unfortunate. The thing is, if I get up there, I should be able to climb out eventually. Climbing down is the hardest part. You know, it wasn't as hard as I thought, climbing up that small waterfall there. And I'm sure glad I went for it, because this is amazing. This is Middle Prong Falls. It is, wow, it's awesome. It's hemmed in by this, it's so difficult to reach because it's hemmed in by these rock walls, as you can see up here. So it's a little tricky finding the right path, but it is beautiful. It is about 35 feet high, just magnificent rocks, awesome pool below. I bet that pool's really nice and deep. It's just gorgeous. I'm really glad I wasted some time to do this, although I'll probably miss the first quarter of Game 7. Alright, that's about it. I am on Forest Road 97. So I have finished the Haywood Gap Trail, and I have just around a mile, a little over a mile on this forest road, and it ends right at Sunburst Campground, right where I parked my car. So probably about 15-20 minutes and then I'm done. Thankfully this last mile and the last 2 or 3 miles were on a pretty level track because my body's been hurting. But Middle Prong Falls was amazing. That is one of the coolest waterfalls I've seen in North Carolina, and it kind of made me forget about how much my shoulders and hips are sore. Got some hot spots on my feet. I've been constantly cut up by thorns and brushed by stinging nettle. I think about the first 3 miles of the Haywood Gap Trail today was lined with stinging nettle, and it was just constant irritation. And also, I slipped on the Haywood Gap Trail near the beginning and planted my finger on a log, and it split my middle fingernail away from the skin, and that was super painful. And I washed it as best I can in a tiny puddle, and there's some dirt caught up under there. So, but yeah, it's all made better by seeing Middle Prong Falls. So that's the grand tour of Middle Prong Wilderness. This is one of the smallest. There's one trail I didn't go on, which was the Buckeye Gap Trail. but I went on the other 3 trails, which make a big horseshoe loop around the boundaries of the wilderness. And let me check and see what the GPS is going to be. So it says I've gone 18 miles and about a mile more, so I'll end up going roughly 19 miles on this loop. So it really is an excellent 2-day backpacking trip. I originally planned to do this as a day hike, and I am very glad I didn't do that because, wow, it was so tough at the beginning. There's no way I would have finished it before dark. I hope you enjoyed the backpacking tour of the Middle Prong Wilderness, and now that I've tested out some of my gear for solo backpacking, I might go on some more weekend trips this summer. Stay tuned for my future trips.